Hey, what's up, you guys? It is I, V name Marino. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show.
Did you practice that?
My name is
You already said your name.
Viney Marino, and across from me is get the right camera. Greg Tepper. I did practice. I always practice.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. We couldn't do this on Monday because Mallory Hartley physically threatened my well-being if she didn't get to do a bracket update. So we'll have to do this now. I would like to welcome everybody into
What?
the Disney on Ice post-game show.
Oh, yeah.
So on Sunday, my wife and myself and the boys, Hank, age 7, Max, age 4, went to Fort Worth, Funky Town, to Dickies Arena for Disney on Ice. Now, I've never, couple of things. One, never been to Dickies Arena. Let me tell you.
That was a shock to me, honestly.
I just, we don't go out much.
In Fort Worth, especially.
We don't go out, period. But, especially we don't go to Fort Worth very much. Dickies Arena, that is a nice barn. That is a really nice place. That is a nice, nice arena. I was really impressed.
It's great.
It's very cool. It's very sleek and modern and feels like the right size. It doesn't feel too big. It also doesn't feel too small. It's very Goldilocks. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I was a big fan of the Dickies Arena. So we went to on Sundays. I think they have 3 shows. They have a 10:30, a 2:30, and a 6:30. And we decided to go to the 10:30 a.m. show. We were meeting my brother and my sister-in-law and my nieces.
Let's go.
And so there was a group of 8 of us, sat in the upper tank and watched Disney on Ice. It is a rave for children. I was really impressed with, there's a lot of impressive things about it. The AV part of it, the lights and the sound and all of that is very impressive.
Nice.
It is also, it's just, these are obviously very good skaters.
Uh-huh.
And also, some of them are wearing, full mascot costumes, basically.
Oh.
They're dressed like Goofy, right?
My goodness.
And they're skating. And I'm like, this is impressive. If you've ever been in, a mascot head, your visibility is limited. So I was awfully impressed. It was, decent crowd for a Sunday morning. There is one thing I want to bring up.
Okay.
And I should have seen it coming, because when we were paid an exorbitant amount of money to park the car. As we're walking in, I kind of turn, look down the row. I see a dad getting his son. I think his son. No, it was a daughter. She was in a princess dress. Lot of costumes, a lot of dress, a lot of princesses. And
Let's freaking go.
I look over and he is finishing a beer.
Hey.
And I'm like, I'll look at my watch and it's 10:10 on a Sunday morning. And we're walking into Disney on Ice. Lo and behold, we get in there. V&A, the bar's open. At 10:30 on a Sunday morning at Disney on Ice. And I've talked about this before about
it's tough out here.
I will imbibe from time to time. I'm not a teetotaler. I enjoy a beverage.
Yeah, of course.
Not here to hate. I also think we have at least a little bit over-alcoholized the world. You should not be able to get alcohol everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
You
said the same at the zoo, right? It was kind of
that's the thing. And my example of that is the zoo, which, by the way, I went to the zoo, and they're selling beer there too. But at the same time, there is a plausible, let me give the zoo a pass here. There's a plausible deniability that you could be at the zoo with just your friends. And it could be a group of, how old are you?
I'm about 26.
It could be a group of 26-year-olds going to the zoo. And you know what? You want to knock a couple back? I guess that makes sense to me.
Be my guest.
Nobody's going to Disney on Ice without children. At least nobody who should be allowed in polite society. And they had beer guys selling beer at 10:20 in the morning. And then at the intermission, I went to go use the facilities, and I walked by a full liquor bar. Operational. And by the way, here's the thing, and this is just, late stage capitalism. There were people in line.
Because they know it's going to sell.
They wouldn't sell it. It wouldn't be open if they didn't think they were going to sell booze.
They know.
At Disney on Ice at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday. It was just kind of shocking to me, and I'm not easily shocked. That was like another level. But Disney on Ice, I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
Very worth your time.
Let's go.
With your children. Good time, good music, good show. Felt like a fun time.
A lot of bubbles?
All the kids.
A lot of bubbles?
A lot of bubbles. That's the other thing is they have these light up bubble wands, and my wife was like stressing out trying to find these online.
Yeah.
And she's like,
you
I gotta
have
find
one
because there's a lot of princess ones, as you can probably imagine. She's like, I gotta find one for the boys, right? Ones for the boys. And don't get me wrong, my boys, play princess stuff too. We're not getting to that conversation, but she's like, I want to find like ones that are like for a little bit more for boys.
Yeah.
And she was like, she took a couple days looking online for these. And I finally asked her, I'm like, are these like required for entry? Like, do we need these? And she goes, no. But here's the thing, is that you're going to walk inside and every kid is going to have one. And then your sons are going to be tugging on your coat or your, shirt, it's warm, saying, Dad, we need these light up ones. And then you're going to walk up there and they're going to be $45.
And then you go into the other line for the drink.
And then I'll need
and then you'll go
that bar to be open. Maybe I've connected the dots here.
Yeah.
Actually, talking this through,
yeah.
It now makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we had a good time. And there were other people who had much better time than I did, apparently. Anyway, hit the theme expo.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, if you're watching it at VNA's house, hello. Raul, I presume, is watching. Or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. Somebody whose father, I presume, is watching. Hi, Raul. It's Raul's daughter, Vianney Moreno.
Hi guys.
Vianney Moreno.
And hi, Dad.
I presume.
I'll
I like
show
to
him.
feel like,
Yes.
hopefully, I want to perform as if Raul is watching. So I got to bring my A game. I hope you'll do the same, V.
I always bring my A game for my dad.
Today is Thursday, March 26th, 2026. Ooh, it's 3/26/26. Is that a thing? It is a mere 245 days till Thanksgiving. Happy belated birthday to Ashley Pickle. It is episode
it was yesterday.
We didn't have to make a big deal out of it.
Happy birthday, Pickle. I love you so much.
She had a whole birthday yesterday. It was a whole thing. The cake and everything. Anyway, it's episode 1927. He guessed. Did he get it right? 1925. Close. On today's show, folks, big show, fun show. We are going to have Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Take a look at the most effective, best first-year head coaches in Texas high school football in 2025. We crunch the numbers. We'll give you a list. And then back half of the show, in studio,
Let's go.
Kevin Sumlin, friend of ours from yesteryear. You may remember him as the head coach of the Houston Cougars. You may remember him as the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. You can know him now as the head coach of the Houston Gamblers in the UFL, which kicks off this weekend. You can watch the Gamblers take on the Dallas Renegades in the Battle of Texas. Kevin Sumlin's going to be on the sideline on Saturday on Fox. But first, he was in that chair on the internet. And so you can watch him there. Well, he had a great conversation with Coach Sumlin. You can see that coming up here at the back half of the program. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great.
Do we have first work through the door? Oh, she forgot.
We have, as I see from my microphone, Tony Blaylock and Joy Hill. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us. It is Thursday, and of course, in the off season, that can mean one thing and one thing only. That's right. It's time for Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today, where we dive inside the numbers of Texas high school football. And if you go to texasfootball.com, you will find our coaching changes page presented by First Down Playbook. That's where Matt Stepp is tracking all the Texas high school football coaching maneuvers across the state. And so far, if you are interested, there have been 145 UIL 11-man Texas high school football coaching changes.
Jeez.
There will be 145 programs in UIL 11-man Texas high school football who will have a new coach in 2026. Now, what if I were to tell you, Vianney Moreno,
Yes.
that last year there were 230?
Oh, my goodness.
In fact, there were 200. I'm sorry, I've got that. No, yeah, 230. 230 Texas high school football coaching changes across UIL 11-man. So we're actually, it's slowed down significantly. Now, I think you could make the argument that this year there have been bigger, higher profile coaching changes.
Do those coaching, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do those coaching changes involved like before the season started or before the season started and as the season went on? Is there coaching changes when the season goes on?
There have been, this will account for anybody who is having a different coach as opposed to week 1 of 2025.
Okay.
So if you had there's not a ton barring like disciplinary issues or other kind of like unforeseen circumstances. There are not a lot of in-season coaching changes.
Great.
But there are coaches who are hired in like December, right? So there are last year 230 first-year Texas high school football coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do is take a look at them and say, hey, it's hard to step into a new job. I haven't had a new job in 15 years, right? Been in the same place.
Old.
I can imagine that it's hard to start at a new place. And sometimes it's even harder to start at a football program because there's so many different moving parts there. And so I want to look at those 230 new first-year UIL Texas high school football coaches in 2025 and just ask the question, hey, who did the best? Who did the best job? So the first way we're going to measure that is the basic way, which is, hey, of those first-year coaches at their programs, which of them won the most games? Seems pretty simple, right? And here they are. There's 7 guys who I think really stood above the pack. The first one is Corey Laxon. pictured there. The new head coach at Sheldon C.E. King. 13-3 took them to a state championship game. It is hard to have a better first year than Corey Laxton did. Of course, if they had won that last game, maybe that's the only way it could have been better. 13-3, a breakout year, an unbelievable season for Sheldon C.E. King and Coach Corey Laxton in his first season. Jordan Gill taking over at Gunner. Remember, he took over at Gunner and led them back to the state semifinals. Went 13-2. How about Brett Sawyer? Bernie just keeps doing it. 13-2 in his first season there with the Greyhounds. Tommy Koch, head coach there at Paradise in his first season, guides them to the regional final at 12-2 mark. Bo Maines at Elysian Fields went 11-2, went 3 rounds deep in the playoffs. I think what Jason Lewis did at Houston Yates is unbelievable. 11-1 in his first season. And then Rod Blunt, his first year there at George Wesh after moving from Geronimo Navarro, goes 11-1 with the Longhorns. These are the guys who won the most games in their first season as a Texas high school football coach. Now, I do think there's a caveat here. And one thing I want to look at now, which is if you take a look at a guy like Jordan Gill, for example, and I want to be very clear, I think it's very hard to step into a job that is rolling. He took over at Gunner and did the best thing that he could, which is just live up to the expectations. But I want to look at the guys who had the biggest win improvement from the year before to their first year. The program that they took over and then moved forward. And at the top, again, not surprisingly, Corey Laxton. Remember, C.E. King was 5-5 in 2024. And in the first year under Corey Laxton, C.E. King goes 13-3, an 8-win improvement. What about Ty Robinson at Crawford? From 3-9 to 10-2, a 7-win improvement for the Pirates under Ty Robinson. Jermaine Lewis at Gladewater, a 6-win improvement from a 4-win team to a 10-win team. Same thing goes for Brooks Hack, who, of course, was one of the offensive coordinators for Richmond Randall during their run to a state championship in 2024, takes over at Houston Memorial for a legend, and takes him from 4 wins to 10 wins. Clay Baker, what a job he did. From 1-9 to 7-6. That is digging them out of a ditch and getting them 3 rounds deep in the playoffs. And by the way, look at what John Huffstetler did at Pittsburgh. Took over a program that was 1-9 in need of a boost, and boy, he did it. From 1-9 to into the playoffs. Really, really remarkable. So those are the guys who improved the win total the best, the most. Now I want to dig in a little bit more, and we're going to get a little bit more granular. Which of these coaches improved their offensive output the most? Which of these guys gave their offenses a big jump? At the top, Matt Fanning. You may remember Matt Fanning was the head coach at Jim Ned, went into the college ranks, came back to high school, and in his first year at Alvord, improved their offense by 24 points a game. More than 3 touchdowns per game. Jason Pitts took over a really good offense at Ozona, and thanks in large part to Christian Villarreal, turned them into a juggernaut offensively, nearly 60 points a game, up 23.2 points per game. Patrick Oliver, pictured to the left, a guy coming home to Brazos and gave their offense an immediate jumpstart from 22.8 points per game to 45 points per game. Travis McClain at Mount Vernon. And Mount Vernon's put up some big numbers. He improved their offense by 22 points from 15.9 points per game, which basically you can't win consistently if you are averaging 15.9 points per game, to 38, where your offense is leading the way. Brooks Hack again at Houston Memorial. I don't think that should be a surprise considering what he did offensively with Randall. And then Colonius McNeil at Fort Bend Bush. Don't overlook what he did. A nearly 21-point improvement to go from fewer than 12 points per game, which again, you just can't win like that. From 12 points a game to nearly 33 in his first year. Gave them a huge, huge leap. That's the offense. But what about on the other side? What about on the defensive side? Which coaches changed their defenses for the better the most? How about Travis Crowley at Robstown? He took over a defense that was, they were giving 48 points a game. They couldn't win like that. And he got them to 23.4 points per game. You're taking a very, very below average defense, and you're getting them to above average. Nearly 25 fewer points per game under Travis Crowley at Robstown. Clay Baker, again, at Price Carlisle. How'd he do it? How'd they win so many more games? They cut their defensive output in half. In half. Look at what Trent Jones did at Buffalo. Took over a defense that was getting scorched. 57 points a game and got them back to respectability. 22 points better per game. Same thing with Chris Lane at Lamar Consolidated down there in Rosenberg and Lamar Consolidated ISD. From 51 points a game to under 30. Matt Uzel at Flatonia. What an improvement they made from 40 points a game to under 20. And then Tycoon. They're at Little River Academy, taking over a program that had a tough year in 2024 and immediately revitalized that defense, cutting nearly 20 points per game off of their points allowed per game average. So who had the best year among first-year Texas high school football coaches? Kind of depends on how you measure it. I think for all of these guys, you take a look at these programs under first-year head coaches, and their trajectory, at the very least, is really promising for all of these programs. I think that the best is yet to come for these guys, and they showed that there is a lot of positives for these programs moving forward under their new coaches. There it is. That's a look at the best first-year coaches in Texas high school football in 2025 on Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. I hope you will go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Get the 2026 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands. Mailed to you before it hits newsstands. You don't got to run around looking for it. And you'll also have it quicker than your neighbor. And then you can just, hold it in front of them and be like, why don't you get your money up?
Get good.
TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift as well. Get it for Ashley Pickle's birthday. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here after the break, we sat down with the head coach of the Houston Gamblers. Our friend Kevin Sumlin was in studio. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Pour some sunshine with new First Light Community Coffee's first ever light roast. This blend has notes of honey and brown sugar that will brighten any part of your day. Try First Light now at communitycoffee.com.
Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
Friday night football is here, and Hometown is trusted by thousands of schools across the nation to make game days effortless. Sell tickets online, easily scan them at the gate, track sales in real time, and keep your community connected with a free athletic website. Make every game a hometown game. Visit hometown.com to learn more.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Football is back in the state of Texas. The UFL kicks off this weekend in a Texas-sized showdown with the Dallas Renegades welcoming in the Houston Gamblers. You can watch it live on Fox on Saturday afternoon. And here to talk about it is a guy who's going to be a little busy during that. It's the head coach of the Houston Gamblers, Coach Kevin Sumlin. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for popping by. This is a return for you in a lot of different ways, and one of them is it's a return to Texas. Texas is a place that has been very good to you in the past. What's it mean for you to be back in the Lone Star State?
Well, it's awesome, right? I mean, the people of Houston have been great to me in my life. You know, College Station's not that far away. I actually have my daughter's a lawyer in Houston, and she's married there, and I've got a son playing at TSU. Yeah. So, you know, 2 of the 4 kids I have are right there in Houston, and so I know I at least have 2 fans. So, but it's going to be great. Yep. And Houston supports a winner, and I'm just glad to be back.
You know, you mentioned that Houston supporting a winner. That is a football crazy town. And you guys are opening on the road in Frisco this week, but then next week you guys get the home opener. Ludacris is the halftime show. Not trying to sell anybody, but when you're talking to Houston football fans, why should they come out and see these games?
Well, I've been there and watched all kinds of teams win in Houston. You know, I was in Robertson Stadium, and we packed the place. The Dynamo packed the place. We've got a new stadium where we're playing at. Great venue at Shell Energy. But I've also seen the Astros go through what they've gone through with world championships, and the Rockets. I might have snuck down this past season with the Texans with about game 12 or 13. They're right in the middle of it. And the place is crazy about sports. And so what we want to do is put the right product on the field. And I think people will be pretty impressed by what we have.
Now, this is also a return to the Gamblers. Back in 2022, you coached them when they were in the USFL. I'm curious what you take from that experience that you can apply to this experience.
It's just so different than the college game because of, first of all, the practice times and roster size, right? You look out there today after we made 14 cuts, we got 40 guys out there, and you're like, wow. And when you're used to 125 guys, you get a lot more reps. You can't practice as long and do the same thing. So, you know, that's one part of it, but I think our ownership was my big reason to come back. Mike Rapoli has a vision. Russ Brandon, you know, the way things are run right now, and the ability to play in your home venue, I think it's big. I think it's big for our fans. I think it's big for our players. And, you know, the excitement you build for a local team, I think is great.
You mentioned the roster, and we were talking about some of the local guys. When you take a look at this roster, what has you excited about this group of guys heading into the season?
Well, you know, we put this team together from scratch. So there was, you know, they blew up the whole, I hate to use the word blew up, but they did for the whole league last year. If you're Shannon at DC, you'd be upset because he won it with a good team. But we actually claimed a couple of their players because Mike Rapoli wants some local talent. And, you know, we've got some really good players that people recognize that you know, that are Texas high school guys. I've said this before. I didn't think I'd ever sit around or be able to coach that many LSU guys in my life, but we've got a bunch of LSU guys. Anthony Hines comes to mind from Plano East, but we've got all kinds of people that have Texas ties, and I think people will recognize their names and know their brand of football.
You know, we were talking about Anthony Hines before we started rolling, and how it has to be full circle for you to some of these guys you recruited to come play for you in college, and now you get to coach them as a pro.
It's kind of funny because, you know, we're going through the draft process, and he was playing at DC last year, and we had the ability to claim 3 local guys. And I still had his number in my phone, right? Anthony Hines, class of 16, and his dad's number. And he was like, Coach, I'll be there tomorrow. Because he was one of the top recruited linebackers in the country coming out of Plano East. And so, you got guys like him, Jonte Kirkland, some guys that have played a lot of football. And some people like him that everybody will know that played around here. There were highly recruited players. It might have gone to a different college, might have gone to a different university. But some guys that were at Houston, some guys are A&M, and some guys I didn't get like 10 years ago, but now they're back on one team, and it's kind of cool.
I do want to ask you, you mentioned your son playing at Texas Southern, and I think, look, people may not remember this about you, but you were a stud at Purdue. You were a stud, and so great player and a great coach. Now you've got to sit in the stands and watch your son. What is a game day experience like for you watching your son?
It's tough. I had and people. I had one go to OU, and then he transferred when Lincoln left. He went with he went with Tom to FAU. So it's about relationships too. And for when your kid leaves and goes to play, I actually played with Chris Dishman, and who's the head coach at TSU. And so I called Chris and I was like, hey, looked at the tape, goes, we won it. And so he's having a great experience there. They had a winning season last year for the first time, when Chris took over, and he's built a great program. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, but he's just been great to my family and me. And that's why I'm excited to be back.
I do want to make sure I ask you, because you recently launched the Kevin Sumlin Scholarship for Student Athletes. Why was that important for you? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's important. I mean, I've had, a couple kids that are playing football, so didn't have to really worry about them. And my daughters were, one's a lawyer, the other one is an actress. So education has done a lot for my family, did a lot for me. And, a lot of people think, that I've spent so much time in this area, but going to Purdue was a big deal for me, and made me the person I am. And education gave me that opportunity. And I just want to make sure that if there's anybody out there that I can help personally, or we can help because of the success that my family has had, I just kind of want to share that.
And finally, we mentioned the opener coming up this week against the Renegades. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan here, although we can make some news. But when you take a look at going into to this Saturday, what is your message to your guys before you hit?
Well, I mean, we practiced today. We're going to ramp it up again tomorrow. I just, you don't know, because it's not like you have a bunch of video of last year's team. Everybody's got new guys. We've got 3 or 4 guys from their team, right? And they've got new coaches. And anybody who has known me around coaching in this area, this will not be the first time that me and Coach Neuheisel have done battle. That's the greatest comeback in UCLA history. That game, but
I wasn't going to bring it up for what it's worth.
No, I'm good with it. But then when we played him at Houston, we pretty much handled that, and then he lost his job there. So this game's got a lot more at stake than you think. Noel Mazzoni is the offensive coordinator over there, and so who fans know, used to work for me. So there's a lot of moving parts in this game. Our offices are real close to each other. So I think, although we smile and laugh about things, and people are calling this the Battle of Texas for the UFL, it's going to be a pretty intense situation.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You can watch it live on Fox on Saturdays, the Renegades and the Houston Gamblers, led by Coach Kevin Sumlin. Coach, appreciate your time, my friend.
Oh, man, anytime. I appreciate you.
There he is, Kevin Sumlin, head coach of the Houston Gamblers, the UFL. It's Gamblers and Renegades. That is Saturday afternoon, live at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, live on Fox. You can tune in for that. Make sure you go see our friend Kevin Sumlin. And then, I think he mentioned in the interview, they have their home opener next weekend.
Oh, yes.
And you know who the halftime show is?
What is it?
Ludacris.
Oh, my God.
So if you're in the Houston area.
Ashley would be pumped.
If you're in the Houston area, head up the Gamblers. Anyway, we appreciate Coach Kevin Sumlin and our friends at the UFL for helping to make that happen. Let's go to Vianney Moreno for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Why are you so casual today?
Why am I so cash? I'm pretty cash
Got the
right
Dave
now.
Campbell's
Got the
gear, yeah.
babies. You know, I got my hair up, got some braids in. I'm going to play some pickleball.
You're playing pickleball. We've got some sort of competition with one of our sister companies. You guys are going to play pickleball.
We do at the lovely Chicken and Pickle.
Represent us well. Represent us well. Are you playing?
Best. I'm going to play, yes.
Okay.
I should have told Mallory to come in here. We're matching today, so matching with Mallory, Sam, the Gavsters. It's gonna play. So
it's gonna be
everyone.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Rudy.
Full report on Monday. That's going to do it for us.
If I survive.
Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Kevin Sumlin, head coach of the Houston Gamblers, for being our guest. For Vianney Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.
Bye.